What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And hello everyone, welcome once again. My name is Logan and this is Decode Your Reality. Today we're doing one on the Trump Tower, which is located in New York City. Trump Tower Decoded, and I gotta tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the things that I found during this discovery and research has been absolutely rattling my cage. It's completely blown me away, and here we go. Now, my methods for decoding, I typically use these three here. Chaldean numerology. If you're new to my work, of course, every letter is associated with a number, and then you can decode titles, words, phrases, and whatnot. We also bring in science. We bring in alchemy, the spoken word. We speak magic spells. That's why they say, how do you spell your name? Well, we can measure those letters that we find here with the numbers that are correlated with these elements of the periodic table. There's 118 of them that we know of so far. And then, of course, we think in pictures, ladies and gentlemen. So in order to get a visual of what the numbers mean, we can start bringing the tarot into this and start looking at it from the expressions of this platform as well. And then last but not least, you got to have common sense. Most people don't have common sense. Not you, but most people don't have it. And, just because you don't understand this information doesn't mean you should dismiss it. I always say study a little bit more, understand this information, because this stuff goes really, really deep. There's many layers to it. So let's start off here by decoding the city in which Trump Tower is located in. It's in New York. Now I want to digress and say, who was the person responsible for choosing the name New York? I don't know. I haven't researched it that far. And of course, a lot of history is all BS. So we really can't tell. But who chose the words New York for this city, the largest city in the United States? It's also where Hell's Kitchen is located. But who chose this name? Notice that in the two ciphers, English Ordinal and Chaldean, look at the outcome of that. Primarily I use Chaldean, but I wanted to throw the English Ordinal in there because it's a 111. That's kind of not that common to find these triple digits like that. So whoever coded this, if they actually sat down and coded it using one of these two ciphers, that tells us a lot. But I believe that there's something behind man running the show, pulling the strings. There's no way that man could do this alone, and we're going to get into that, and then you come up with your logical conclusions. But I'm using Chaldean primarily. I believe those that rule use it more than anything else. Notice that at the 28 appears at the 33rd decimal digit of pi. Pi is the never-ending circle, the 3.1. It goes on and on and on. Well, you go 28 digits in, it's at the 33rd decimal digit of pi. Is that by accident? You ladies and gentlemen know how big the 33 is. But look at what 28 ends up being, what title it's related to, what name it's related to. The infamous Lucifer, talked about in a few verses in the Bible. We all know the aspects of Lucifer, and I'm bringing it to the limelight because it has relevance to the Trump Tower. Now, Trump Tower equals the number 48. Notice as well, it's a 2424, so it's a 66, and that matches up with the owner of Trump Tower, Donald John Trump, and his name, his full name, his birth name, equals the number 66. Even Donald Trump equals 66, matching that with the Trump Tower. But the bigger standout here, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get into that, is the number 48. And now we bring alchemy into this. We bring in the elements of the periodic table. We measure it now. That can be measured in the laboratory. And the element cadmium is the 48th element. What does this mean? Well, we're going to get into that. This is the most abundant atomic weight of cadmium, 113. And we're going to get into that. We're going to show you why it's relevant and what it has to do with all of this. Now, the Trump Tower, according to Wikipedia, I'm going off of that, is 664 feet tall, 202 meters. We're going to measure that in a minute. But look at what it breaks down to through the aspects of alchemy. 2 carbons and a beryllium. We add those up. Here's the atomic weights right there. We bring in the calculator just so we can see the visual, and it gives us the number 33.012. You could also say it's a 333 with the 0 in there. but the standout is the 33, as in 33 vertebrae. Most of you know the 33 by the Masonic degrees, but the 33 goes way beyond that. Christ supposedly died at the age of 33 or was put to death or what have you. So it has great significance. 3 is the creative mind. 33 is the master creative mind. Now let's measure it using the digits of pi. 664 appears at the 117th decimal digit of pi. 117, 711. Why is the 117 so important? Speed of light, the Great Pyramid of Giza. All of you that do decoding, you know how important the 117 is. And it's tied to the height of Trump Tower. Now let's measure it in meters. It's 202 meters tall, and we measure that using 2 heliums because 2 is helium, and we have 2 of those, and then 0. When you measure zeros, you have to throw in pi, and of course pi is 3.1. It's the most balanced aspect of pi, not 3.14 because then it's lopsided to the right. It's 3.1, and of course 3 and 1 is the mirror of 13. 31 is gallium, which is 69. 13 is the death card. There's a lot of significance to the 31 and the 13. But in this case here, when we measure it out, we have 2 heliums and 3.1. We get another, as I see it, 11.7. Because the 1 and the 6 end up being a 7. What do you see, though? But nevertheless, it's another master number 11, matching that up with the master number 33 right here when we measure this and how tall it is in feet. So there's your meters. Again, done on accident. I mean, who designed this building? We're going to get into that. But, you know, really, did they take their time precisely to do it this way? I guarantee you there's no way they were using these elements back then. That's why I'm saying there's a divine force that's pulling the strings behind the scenes to make these buildings and all these monopolies and politics and governments. They're all infiltrated by something higher than man alone, but you can bet your bottom dollar on that. Now look at the address right off the internet. Trump Tower, 725 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10022. Look what it equals and what element it lines up with. The number 79, and that is gold. The other address that stands out is the One World Trade Center, where the newly built One World Trade Center is. The One World Trade Center address also equals the number 79. Big standouts. As far as I'm concerned, even the 725 can be a 77. Now, how many floors does the Trump Tower have? It has 58, according to the internet. Now, why is 58 important, and why do I have Lucifer here? Lucifer is a 3-syllable word. That's how it rolls off your lips. Lucifer. So we can measure it as a 9, a 4, and a 15. Those are the numbers. So we have fluorine, beryllium, and phosphorus, and then we take the atomic weights, we bring it over to our trusty calculator, and look at the number we end up getting. Lucifer is tied to the number 58, which, again, I mean, who chose 58 floors? I don't know. I wasn't there when it was built. I wasn't there when the blueprints were drawn up. But do you think there's some kind of divine force behind this pulling the strings? I don't know. You be the judge. I'm going to keep going and show you more connections, man. We're not just cherry picking here. 725 is one of the addresses. The other one is 721. But the address on the internet is 725 Fifth Avenue. I'm assuming that's probably the mailing address. But look at what 725 is. It could be the 77, which of course has significance, but if we break it down in atomic weights, we end up getting another 28. We actually get a mirror of one another because it's nitrogen, helium, and boron. The average atomic weights of these elements are right there, and of course they add up to 28.82. The other standout, which of course again, there's Lucifer again, 28, but the other standout, of course, the mirror of 28 is 82, and the 82nd element is lead, which is tied to Saturn. Moving along, the latitude, longitude. I've been trying to tell everybody, X marks the spot. You can do this with your birthday, what city were you born in, look up the latitude, longitude, look at these numbers, add them up. Where does the X marks the spot for you? Great Pyramid of Giza sits at 29 degrees north, 31 degrees east. You add those up, you get 60. That's neodymium. That's where the name Neo came from, the movie The Matrix. That's for a different story. But look at where the latitude, longitude of Trump Tower sits. It's 40 degrees north, 73 degrees west. 40 plus 73 equals 113. I told you cadmium was going to come and play a huge role. Trump Tower again equals the number 48. Look at what we have, the 113 cadmium's most abundant atomic weight is 113. Again, you have to start asking yourselves, man, these connections, man, they're direct connections with these things that we're using here to measure them with. Another standout, we're going to get into that, cadmium is from the Latin word. The etymology is called cadmia, and we're going to decode that in a minute. But let's decode cadmium down further. Cadmium is the 4 and the 8, 48 protons. So we're going to break that down. If we separate those, you get the beryllium and oxygen. And when you add those up right here in the calculator, you get the number 25.007. It could be a 77 or 7.007, giving you the master number 77. But the big standout is the number 25. And why is that important? Because the word adversary equals the number 25. I'll let your imagination go with that. But keep in mind the word black sun equals 25. The word parasite equals 25. The word demon equals 25. It's no wonder why adversary equals 25. And of course you have the chessboard in the background, the two knights battling it out. It's Jesus and Lucifer right there set straight in center. Now, interestingly, I wanted to throw this in there. I found this tonight. The show Lucifer, I think it's on its 6th season. I've watched a few episodes. I mean, are they mocking us, or is this just kind of fantasy? But the interesting part about it is the first episode date, of course, done on purpose, January 25th. What did I say? The 25 was, it's the adversary. Again, the word adversary equals 25. And that's why I say those that rule, those in television and movies, they use the Chaldean primarily before anything else because it lines up with what I'm showing you here and the English language. Now, the English ordinal, interestingly enough, has a big standout because adversary equals 113. And what's the most abundant atomic weight of cadmium? You got it right. It's 113. And, of course, another standout, and I'm not going to go too much into this. Those of you that know the 696 or the 96 or the 69, the actor that plays Lucifer, Thomas John Ellis, 24/18/15, that's the 696. Kind of interesting, if you ask me. Really, really interesting. Now, I told you I was going to get in the etymology of the word cadmium. Cadmium's really important in this in Trump Tower. The Latin word is cadmia, so we're going to decode that right here. Notice I have the two ciphers here. The one on the left, the English ordinal, equals the number 31. 31, of course, is gallium, and the average atomic weight of gallium is, just 69. There's the 69 again. And, of course, the bigger standout to me is the number 14, because the word Satan, which a lot of people relate it to Lucifer, they're not the same entity, I can promise you that. They're separate entities, but they're connected. But Satan equals 14, just like the Latin word cadmia, which is where cadmium came from. And notice the element silicon is the 14th element, and its atomic weight, just the 28. So see how 14 and 28 are tied directly together. Keep in mind, Trump's birthday is on June 14th. June 14th is his birthday. So the element silicon, look at the two letters it uses for its abbreviation. Starts with an SI, and of course the biggest standout is the capstone. That's the first letter in anything, word, title, like your name, whatever your first letter is, that directs and navigates the word itself. Well, it just so happens to be the letter S, as in serpent, as in snake, silicon. So get that, and what do you think of that right there? That is a huge standout in all of this. Now, last but not least, Donald Trump this is off of Wikipedia, he had envisioned this building that he had put the Trump Tower at, but it was owned by Bonwit Teller. It was their flagship store, and of course, it was built in 1929, and that has significance if you want to decode that using the elements of the periodic table. But look at the big standouts with the Bonwit Teller. Again, I mean, this is the company he had to buy the building from, and it just so happens that it equals the number 47, just like the word Washington, D.C., just like the word White House, just like the word tetragrammaton, which in all of my research runs and operates our matrix reality. Everything you're hearing and seeing from me is run by the tetragrammaton You can make book on it. That's why they named. That's why they sat down. Like I said, I don't know whoever named it Washington, D.C. I mean, why do they call it the White House? Could have been the Red House. It could have painted it red, green, black. Why White House? Because it equals the number 47. Could have picked any other name. But it's tied to this right here. That's everybody that knows in the occult. They worship the Tetragrammaton, the Masons. They all know it. And they hide this information from you. But I mean, do you think this person knew? Bonwit Teller, flagship store. I don't know if it's actually a guy's name, but I told you there was significance to 1929. Alchemically, 1929 ends up being 43.007 or the 77. That's when that building was first constructed. So there you have it. That's what I got, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think? It's all tied to Lucifer and cadmium and sevens. You know, the location. What do you see? You know, what do you see? But Lucifer plays a huge role, whether you like it or not. What I'm showing you is tied to Lucifer, was tied to Trump. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about Trump. Everybody has a good and bad side. I think the guy has a good and bad side, just like we all do. I'm not saying anything derogatory. I'm just completely showing you what I've found in my research. And I could go on and on. This is just one instance. Wait till I actually decode him and the Vice President Richard Pence, which his birthday's on June 7th, which is 7 days before Trump, which is the 7 and the 14, and that has great significance as well. But what do you see? Do you think these things are just arbitrary? I mean, do you think they're just, Logan, you're just picking stuff and whatnot? I don't think so. Not up to all the research I've done. So that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. I appreciate you watching.